Hello again, good to see you. This is Thought for the Day, Flemington Hallside Parish Church. I am the minister in said church, and I've tried to stay on scripture, sometimes starting with it and sort of applying it, sometimes finding a sort of coronavirus lockdown situation and then coming to scripture. Um, this morning's a wee bit different. I don't think I'm being non-scriptural, it's just something's happened which I think is worthy of comment, at the very least, just kind of observing the reality of it. Have you noticed the last few weeks that people are saying nice things about Piers Morgan? I mean, that in itself is a sufficiently unusual thing that it's worthy of comment. I just think for a very, very long time, and when you do a thought for the day, irrespective of how small and minute your the people tuning into your YouTube channel might happen to be, you don't come on and slag people off. You don't be nasty, or at least you try not to be. But I've just always thought of Piers Morgan as somebody who you could quite legitimately dismiss. He's somebody who rants in all these kind of Twitter feuds and shouting at folks on his Good Morning Britain programme. It just all would seem this kind of manufactured outrage that was just for the sake of being the individual who got to be on telly shouting at people. The thing is, it would appear, even for Piers Morgan, an individual who has been fairly forthright in his praise of Donald Trump and has interviewed him not once but twice in the last 3.5 years, and they were fairly sycophantic, suck-up interviews. But it appears, even for Piers Morgan, when it got to the point where Donald Trump started talking about, investigating the possibilities of injecting disinfectant into people to kill the coronavirus, or getting the other one, which was memorable for all the wrong reasons, the one where he wanted to get the light inside people. Sounds like something I should be saying. We were going to be doing Jesus is the Light of the World this coming Sunday in the I Am series. Let's get the light inside. Anyway, the point was, I think that was enough for Piers Morgan, and I think he was quite critical of Donald Trump. But it's been something else that has happened which has been strange. It's just in the last few weeks, he has been somebody who has taken this ranting and raving and outrage and just kind of really quite vitriolic vocal attacks on people. He's focused on ministers within the present government who he perceives as having not really done their job properly. He went after Helen Whatley on one particular morning show with such vociferous hatred, and she couldn't tell him the exact figure for the number of COVID-19 deaths. He was so aggressive. I think the TV authorities ended up getting almost 2,000 kind of complaints just because he was so vicious. It's that very forthrightness that now, the thing that has been so often, the thing that has been worthy of criticism and people kind of not liking him, he's taking what would appear to be, in my opinion, a flaw. This constant need to be in front of the television screen, shouting at people and falling out with people and being gravely offended on our corporate behalf. He's taking it and is actually putting it to good use. Caitlin Moran. Now, Caitlin Moran is a left-wing feminist journalist and writer. She memorably put it like this. This is her writing in the Times. Definitely not the hero Gotham wanted, but the hero it turned out Gotham needed. beneath the headline, "I never thought I'd say it, but thank goodness for Piers Morgan." This was a column in the Herald. And then lastly, speaking about Piers Morgan, in an editorial in The Guardian, it simply said that they described Piers Morgan as having become the voice of the nation. How things change. He's gone very clearly after people so that they do their jobs properly. And as the death toll has gone up, he's been quite vocal in criticising people who are part of the government, part of the establishment. So much so, this is Owen Jones, who I think would probably value it if you described him as a member of the hard left in the Labour Party. He said, "Yes, I'm going to say it. Huge kudos to Piers Morgan for holding the government to account." Apparently, right at the beginning, what Piers Morgan had told his followers was the fact that those who do their jobs well in this crisis will be remembered in history as people who, when it really, really mattered, stepped up. There will be those who stepped up and those who didn't. If you do any reading of any kind with regard to how did people in the past cope with pandemics, how did folks deal with the bubonic plague? In Roman times, pestilence and plague were a regular feature of society. How did people at that stage, how did they deal with it? Specifically, how did Christianity deal with it? And the thing that consistently comes out when you look at historians' account was the way in which the pantheon, the supermarket of gods that was on offer in Rome, or indeed any major Roman city, they tended to be the people who were happy to let the proletariat die off by whatever pestilence or plague or whatever it was. The people who got alongside them, and I do mean physically alongside them, during times of plague were Christians. And you get non-Christians of the time writing contemporaneous accounts of what happened, and you see there's a lot of people who just don't understand what Christians are doing. In other words, they don't start from a point of view of, as the Latin has it, imago Dei, the image of God in them being the same as in every other human being. And with that point, you start from recognising, well, they wouldn't say we're all Jock Tamson's bairns, but that's the gist of it. We all have our Creator, and we are all created, and we're all in this together. And in the name of Christ, I'm going to try and help you. I think that was one of the most significant reasons why Christianity took hold in the Roman Empire that was so against it for so long. Constantine famously went into battle with the cross painted on the shields of his soldiers. And he did that because of a dream. But by then, Christianity had credibility within a huge swathe of people, specifically because they were the nutters who actually went out and helped people when others ran away. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying we should stop, disobey the lockdown and rebel, as some of people in Britain are now appearing to do, not just in America. What I'm saying is a radical focus on seeking to actually ensure that people who need help get help. That's no longer just the preserve of Christians. There's lots of people who behave in that way. They didn't in the first century. Christians were the ones who were weird enough to do that. And I think you can say there's lots of things where you recognise Christianity has influenced the way cultures respond. But it's that basic basic point. How people behave at this time will be remembered, and there will be people who stepped up and those who didn't. I don't want to quote, certainly don't want to quote Piers Morgan as if it was scripture, but I do think that's a very pertinent insight for this particular time. I recognise I find this really frustrating, specifically because you're not allowed out. You've got to have a really good reason, or you're a key worker. There's all kinds of things, but whatever it is we do, we have to do it for Christ. Because what we do now will be remembered. So even if it's just, I don't know, doing something online, doing something on the phone, doing something. Because I recognise it might be Piers Morgan. And he might be the individual you naturally find it easy to not necessarily agree with on a regular basis. But I think he's correct in this stage, in this era. Those who step up now will be remembered. As best we can, what can we do to ensure that this time is a time when the church, Christians, are remembered because we stepped up? Go with God, because I know God goes with you.